years ago, this is what I saw when I looked in the mirror. Looking good. Well, the years rolled by, and I kept seeing that same fit-looking bloke looking back at me. Who was I kidding? I didn't look like that anymore. I looked like I've swallowed a sheep.
All right, Joe, come on over and step on the scale over here.
Fat. We could be brothers here, right? Here, look. I mean, it's sitting here. Sick.
The kids of today are not expected to live as long as their parents. This is really serious.
And nearly dead. I might have already had a heart attack and died. My name's Joe Cross. I've just arrived in the United States. I'm not going to eat any of your food.
61% of the American diet today is processed foods.
Convenience foods.
Processed foods don't even have 1/10 the original nutrients that were in the food in the native state.
When was the last time you saw this growing on a tree?
Never.
Why are people eating it?
Look, it's stupid.
I came to America to save myself. I've got a thing called chronic urticaria. I've been taking pills night and day. Looking at these bottles here, it doesn't look good, does it? I have a plan. All I'm going to do is drink juice. Green juice.
What kind of juice?
Any fresh vegetable and fruit juice. So what sort of food do you eat?
What kind of potatoes, fried foods?
I don't know, but I hope God got ribs in heaven. I'm a happy fat guy.
How did you get overweight?
I don't know.
I went 4 years one time eating only on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
This is your lunch. Look at that. That's a lot of food right there.
I'm on a juice fast.
A while? Just drinking juice.
Looks very interesting.
What do you think?
That's okay.
I'm determined to adopt a healthy lifestyle. But first, I have to get through the next 60 days. The first few days are the toughest. Not eating, it's kind of like you're cutting yourself off from society.
Juice fasting, you're still eating something. You're drinking nutrients, particularly a lot of micronutrients that are coming from fruits and vegetables.
I'm not going for skinny, I'm just going for healthy. I get migraine headaches if I smell certain things or if I eat certain things. And I mean literally a migraine headache that can make me sick, can't see, can't hear, throwing up, the whole bit.
I'm a type of guy that hasn't gone 4 hours without eating an entire meal.
I would say generally we do eat fairly balanced meals. I don't live on Cheetos.
Joe, this is Phil. Is it too late to ask for help?
I don't want any of my kids to see me like this. I'm not angry. I'm just in pain.
I offered him help. I've got to get over there and see what I can do. Good luck, mate. It's a tough thing, the emotional attachment to food. It's bloody tough.
I'm starving. I gotta watch that and drink this.
It's infectious, this healthy lifestyle. All these people around me are all eating micronutrient food. They're all going to the gym. This might really be working. As I travelled across the country, what I gained was far more than what I lost.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's you!
Who would have thought I'd get excited about a broccoli salad? A pelvis hip bone, like here. I haven't felt that for 10 years.
The point here is we have an unprecedented opportunity in human history to be healthier and live longer than ever before.
I don't have the migraines anymore, so that is a big, huge plus. I feel like I'm 21 years old again.
Feeling younger, I feel more energetic, I feel like I can focus better mentally.
And I learned that the best way to change the world is to change yourself.
It's becoming a long laundry list of people that are borrowing my juicer.
All right, for an apple. Today I just weighed myself and I'm down 6 bowling balls.
I can't tell you how good I feel. I don't take any medication anymore, and that is an absolute miracle.
I think he's a male model right now.
They were having a screening of Joe's film, and I had this eureka moment and said, this is it. The next day, I started juicing. I sleep great, my blood pressure is correct. It all happened by seeing this film with Joe.
This has exceeded every expectation I had. I feel like I've got a second chance.
You're a new person.
Well, I'm trying, mate.
I'd do it again. In fact, I probably will.
No one's going to come along and wave a magic wand and you're going to lose 10 inches off your gut. It's not going to happen. The one thing I've learned, it's up to us, each and every one of us.
few months ago, I showed that video to a group of people that I was doing a seminar to, and I asked them the question, what did you think when you saw that video? And I'll ask you the same question. After watching that brief little trailer of the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, what were you thinking? Some of the responses that we got back from the question that I'd asked was inspiring to see a person change their life like that. Sad to see a person, that truck driver that really didn't have a chance to be eating real healthy, but did transform his life. I know when I first watched it, I was very inspired by it. It was great to see somebody be able to change their life, to go from a chronic health issue like Joe Cross had to doing that 60-day juice fast, and then just keep that going, and then eventually heal himself of that chronic illness, get off of all of his medication, and lose weight at the same time. And so what I want to do today is I want to talk about how potentially you could do the same in your life. Now, you may be looking at lots of different reasons why you'd want to change your life, change your health, but for some, and for him, one of the things was a chronic health issue, and for others it may be to lose weight, but for some of you it may not have anything to do with a chronic health issue. It may not be that you're trying to lose weight, but it may be that you're just trying to stay healthy, trying to stay ahead of any kind of diseases that may run in the family or whatever, or anything that you've been told that you'll probably get as you get older. Most of us, I think, would rather, when we look at our life, we look at how we want to live our life and how long we want to live our life. I think most of us would agree we'd like to live a long, healthy life and then die of old age, not die spending the last 20, 30 years of our life suffering from chronic health issues. So today we're going to be talking about how it is that we can do that. One of the potential ways you can do that is through a cleanse. So many people in America, I think that this would describe them. They're tired, they're dealing with weight loss challenges, they have poor digestion. 1 out of every 4 Americans now has a chronic health problems. In fact, it's the #1 cause of death in Americans is due to chronic health issues. It's no longer due to diseases that are infectious diseases and such. So could it be the toxins and the foods that we're putting into our bodies? You may have heard a friend or a neighbor or a family member talk about wanting to do a cleanse, or maybe they called it a purification program, or they called it a detox. Those are kind of all the buzzwords that people are using today to describe how they want to clean up their diet and get rid of the toxins in their body. And so when you look at how whatever you want to call it, and you look at what you want to do, what you first want to do is you always want to start with, why would I want to do this to myself? Why would I want to put myself through this program? When we look back at the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, the big reason for him was that he wanted to lose weight, he wanted to get rid of this chronic health issue, and I think that's what started the whole process for him. But I think as it went along, it started changing his life, and he saw that it was much more than just losing weight and getting rid of a chronic health issue. So what I want to do is ask you, if you're thinking of doing a purification, a cleanse, or a detox, what I want to ask you is, what's your reason why? I've been involved in taking care of my body, really taking care of my body since I was probably 13, 14 years old. I really grew an awareness of taking care of my body through exercise and through taking care of my body through eating as well. And the reason why back then was strictly for one reason. When I was 13 years old, I weighed 130 pounds. And then when I was 14 years old, so a year later, I grew a foot. I was 5 feet tall when I was 13, and by the time I was 14, I was 6'1", and yet I still weighed 130 pounds. So I was very scrawny, skinny, and I didn't want to look that way. And my only goal for taking care of my body was so that I could put muscles onto my body, so that I could get big and strong, and that was the only reason. Then I got married and had kids, and started shifting that focus from, I don't want to just be strong and have big muscles and such, but I want to also be able to be healthy and be there for my family for many years to come. So it shifted. And then a few years ago, I taught a course called Extreme Makeover, Body by God's Extreme Makeover. It's a 40-day challenge. And one of the things that it really focused on was looking at what is the reason why we take care of our bodies. And that God is the biggest reason why we should take care of our bodies. So I shifted again from not just thinking about my family, but to thinking about taking care of my body for God. In 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20, it says that our bodies are temples and that we should take care of them as such. Romans 12:1 says that our bodies aren't even our own, that they were bought at a price, and that by taking care of our body can actually literally be an act of worship. And so taking that approach to my health now, I do take care of my health for myself because I think that that is important. I also take care of my health for my family. But ultimately, the biggest reason I take care of my body is because God's asked me. He's asked me to be a good steward of my body. And so that's the biggest reason why. That's the biggest driving factor for me to take care of my body. So again, looking at why you'd want to do this program, because I'm going to be upfront with you guys and let you know that doing a purification, a cleanse, or a detox is not an easy process. It's actually it can be very difficult, especially at first. You even noticed in that trailer, a fat, sick, and nearly dead, that the first couple of days he didn't even want to get out of bed. And you may feel like that depending on where your health is when you move into this program. But it isn't easy, but it's well worth it, as again you can see in that trailer, and I've seen it in my own health as well. And I've had so many people go through this program and just have a transformation in their health that it is worth it, but it's not easy. So that is where you want to start, is with why you'd want to do this program. Another thing that we talk about with purification programs is that they do help. They don't just help with weight loss. I think that's why a lot of people will do it, but they do help you to remove natural toxins from your body, which will allow you to help maintain a healthy weight. So for many people, losing weight is a side product of doing a purification program, but again, it should not be your goal. It shouldn't be the biggest reason why. So how do toxins really affect our health? Well, we know that from research that toxins can affect our body by causing us to have fatigue or difficulty sleeping, both falling asleep and staying asleep. Definitely can help our digestion and then cause other gastrointestinal problems. It can cause food cravings and definitely weight gain, reduced mental clarity, and low libido. And we live in a toxic environment. There's so many different sources of the toxins, from air and water to the chemicals that are in our foods just naturally, to the chemicals that are added to our food, to even the cosmetics that women wear, the heavy metals that we're exposed to in our water, but also in the air even. Household cleaning products, they can be an issue as well, depending on what kind of cleaning products you're using. Pesticides and herbicides, that is definitely something that we haven't seen. It's just more recently that they've been using much more of this in our conventional farming, so our foods have those on it, but then just in our neighborhoods as well, you'll find too many people spraying their yards, their lawns to kill weeds and such, and we can be exposed that way. Pharmaceuticals as well, they can have heavy metals in it. A lot of times they use fillers that can be toxic to our body, and the pharmaceutical itself could eventually build toxicity up in our bodies as well. We also have preservatives. Foods are designed now to sit on shelves for weeks to months, to even some of them are years that they can sit on a shelf, and that can only happen because they have preservatives. So these are just some of the examples of where you can be exposed to by toxins. And so as much as you'd like to, as clean a life as you'd like to live, all of us are getting exposed to toxins on a daily basis. So how do toxins actually get into our body? Well, one way we can get them into our body is through our lungs, exhaust from exhaust from cars, toxic fumes, and then secondhand smoke. All of those are ways that chemicals can enter and toxins can enter into our body through our lungs. Also, digestive tract, food additives, so we ingest it. Conventionally grown foods I had mentioned, they will have chemicals, herbicides and pesticides on the actual food itself. And then soft drinks, what we put into our body as far as what we drink. And I'd also mentioned water as well can also have toxins in it. Another way we can do it is just through our skin penetration. We tend to think of our skin as the thing that protects us from the whole outside world. It is designed to do that, but at the same time, it does allow for things to absorb through it. And so perfumes, lotions, hairsprays, deodorants. Deodorants is an interesting one. I always ask people, the question is, what is the purpose of perspiring? And the answer to that question is twofold. One is to get rid of toxins, and the other one is to cool down the body. And so then what is the purpose of an antiperspirant? Well, the purpose of an antiperspirant is to stop you from sweating, which unfortunately then will stop you from getting rid of your toxins and stop you from cooling down your body. The other problem with it is, what is the key ingredient that stops you from perspiring? And that key ingredient in most of them is aluminum, which was also a known toxin to the body. And by putting it in the areas of the body like under the arms, in the armpits, that's a very absorbable area, and so it very easily enters into the bloodstream. And so we know that aluminum can be a toxin that can affect our health. And so deodorants, and specifically antiperspirants, can be another way that toxins can enter into our body. So how do we remove those toxins from our body? Well, the number one way we do that is through our liver. Our liver is an organ that detoxes the body. It's the first thing that first organ that most things go through first when they enter into our body, at least through the digestive tract. Also through our kidneys, the small intestine, and the large intestine. All of these are multifunctional, but they also help us to remove toxins. And this is just a real quick example of how the body does get rid of toxins through the liver. And the reason I show this slide is really not so that you can memorize this and know how your body gets, how your liver works, but to understand that proper liver function then is a highly important thing in helping you to stay healthy and helping you to get your body rid of toxins. So diets, they do contribute to our toxic load. Probably one of the biggest things is our diet, because we are eating 3, 4, 5 times a day, and so we're exposing ourselves to lots of different things, lots of different potential chemicals and toxins, and it can create excess weight, but it also creates body dysfunction. So just some examples of things that can cause toxic load in our body from the things we eat. MSG. It's interesting that it's often listed as natural flavors. I think there's roughly 20 different names that MSG can be used on a label, and so you may not know that you're actually getting MSG, but we do know that it's a neurotoxin. High fructose corn syrup, many people think it's just sugar, but the processing of it can cause mercury to be in your food because of that. Trans fats don't typically occur in nature, and so what we've done is we hydrogenated hydrogenated fats to allow for fats to become more stable, and that it also acts as a preservative that way. But again, it increases our toxic load. And then sugar itself can be toxic load to our body as well. One, from how they refine the sugar, but then two, just the sugar itself can affect our body's toxic load as well. So what are Americans eating? The U.S. allows over 3,000 chemicals to be added into our foods. The average American is consuming more than 75,000 pounds of sugar annually. Sugar contributes an average of 16% of the total calories in American diets. Now that's a lot. So we're consuming a lot of sugar. We're consuming foods that have lots of chemicals in it. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, that over roughly 70 to 75,000 new chemicals have been added into our environment since the 1920s. And when you look at those 70 to 75,000 new substances added into our environment, majority of them, roughly about 20,000 of them, haven't even been tested on people. The majority of them are tested on people, or on animals, I should say. And when you look at those 20,000 that were even tested on people, many of them weren't put together and tested. So for example, if you look at aspartame, it's been tested and has a lot of controversy around it. It's been tested on people, and so is exposure of plastic to people. But what about you put the two together, like when you look at a diet pop in a plastic bottle? Could that potentially be even more harmful? Well, we don't know, because no one's done the research to find that out. So our toxic load is definitely increasing, and making for our environment to be toxic, and then us living in that environment, our bodies can become toxic. When we look at the American diet, then we can see that we are eating a lot of toxins. We're exposed to a lot of toxins in our food. We're exposed to a lot of toxins in some of the preservatives, some of the additives that we're adding, but then some of the food itself, just the way it's conventionally grown. And I'd also mention that we are eating a lot of sugar. And what we have to remember is that when we think of sugar, we tend to think of the white sugar, the high fructose corn syrup. We also have to look at foods that could potentially turn into sugar into our body. You might recognize the very first food pyramid back from the 1990s, and if you look carefully at it, you will see that at the base of the food pyramid, it said that we are to be eating 6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pastas. So when you think about that, 6 to 11 servings, that would have been a lot of work to do. And so we were eating toast, we were eating cereals, we were eating muffins, breads, we were eating it every chance we could get. Now it's interesting, when you look at this food pyramid, you'll also see another issue that has caused problems is at the very top they put fats and oils alongside with sweets and told you to use them sparingly. And so what we need to realize is that when we eat those foods, bread, cereals, rice, and pasta, those are carbohydrates, and typically they're refined carbohydrates. So what happens to those carbohydrates when we eat them? Well, there's a few things that happen, is that our body breaks those refined carbohydrates down pretty quickly, and so it turns to sugar in our bloodstream pretty quickly. Now, a lot of us used to think, well, that sugar just gets stored for later on for fuel. What we do know now is that the amount of sugar that we can store in our body is actually pretty low. We store it as glycogen, and we don't store very large quantities of it. And so in most of us, because we're eating so much of it, we really never do deplete those storage amounts of carbohydrates or sugars. And so then we already have our stores full, and so if that happens, what our body does is converts those sugars, those carbohydrates, converts them into fats, and then we store them in our body. And many times we store them in the what we call the omentum fat, or the abdominal fat, which is probably the most unhealthy fat that you can have. And so what's happened is this pyramid has been changed, but really the premise behind the eating the grains and such is still pretty high, and so we're still seeing it promoted pretty heavily that we should be eating these amounts of grains and such. But the problem with that, obviously, is if it does convert to fat, then it leads to obesity, and again, a very bad form of obesity that causes high blood pressure, causes a lot of other chronic illnesses such as diabetes and even cancer. And when we look at trends then in America, we can see that since this food pyramid has come out, we can see in the trends that when we look back in the 1990s and you look at this map, you will see that most of the states do not have any people that 10 to 14% of their population is overweight. Okay, so you can look at that there's a lot of states that don't, and most states don't have anything higher than that, and that was back in 1990. Then you look in the year 2000, all of a sudden we're seeing almost half of our states have the percentage of people that are overweight is 15 to 19%, and we're even getting greater than 20% in the other half, and really only one state was less than the 15 to 19% where most states were back in the 1990s. And then we look at the year 2009, and we see that very few states are even at 20 to 24% anymore, that most states are either 25 to 29% or greater than even 30%. So most of the states in America now are higher than 25% of its population is overweight. And there's a problem with that, because we know that many chronic health issues stem from that, being obese and overweight, and so it leads to many chronic health issues. And toxins do play a part in that as well. Toxins do create the body does want to hold on to fat as well, and convert foods to fat rather than utilizing them as energy. So how do you know if you're toxic? It's a question that that many people will ask us. I would have to say that if you're living in America, you can assume that your toxicity level is probably to the point where you should be doing a cleanse at least once a year, maybe even 2 times a year. So there is a questionnaire that you can fill out. We do have that available at our office, and you can find out if you do have high levels of toxicity. But I would say, again, if you're living in America, you're probably exposed to enough that you need to be doing a cleanse or purification, detox, whatever you want to call it. You should be doing that at least 1 to 2 times per year. What I want to do for the rest of the seminar is to talk to you about how you can be most successful doing this program. I've gone through this program the last, just a few months ago I did one, and the year before that I did one. So I've been doing one a year, and the first one I did didn't have anybody else that was advising me, telling me what to do, other than what the booklet that comes with the program was explained, and which was really good. It did point out a lot of things, but there were some things that I didn't know and that were very helpful that I've learned throughout that I want to share with you. So what can you expect to achieve in the next 21 days? There's lots of different reasons why you're doing this. We had talked about the ultimate reason why we'd want to take care of our bodies is for God, but there's also other reasons as well that are great reasons to be doing a cleanse, a detox, or a purification program. Some of the examples that we see is to eliminate toxins. That's definitely something you're going to see happen over the 21 days. And you may not feel that, but your body may function better because of it, and so you may feel that difference. Weight loss, we see a lot of people lose weight. Myself, the first time I did it, I weighed 205 pounds is what I started with. And I really didn't think, well, why would I need to lose weight? I didn't think that there was a necessity. I was in good shape, I felt. I exercised a lot. I ate pretty healthy. So I didn't really see a need to. And I always felt like if I needed to lose weight, I would just exercise harder and I could lose any extra weight that I needed to. But I did this cleanse, and at the end of the cleanse, I decided, hey, I love the way I feel. I'm just going to keep doing this. And a few months later, people kept coming and asking me, are you losing weight? What's going on? You look thinner. And I guess I hadn't really noticed it, so I went and I weighed myself, and at that point I was at 190 pounds, so I'd lost 15 pounds in the matter of probably about 2 months, and without really trying, without really expecting it to happen, so I felt great. And so then this last time I did it, I weighed myself at the start of it. I weighed 195, I let a few bad things creep back into my diet, and weighed 195 pounds. Did the cleanse. At the end of the cleanse, I weighed 185 pounds. So again, lost weight, didn't really have to work at it. It was just changing the way I was eating. So weight loss is definitely something that we see in a lot of people. One of the things I tell people is if you don't experience weight loss and that's what you're looking for, keep it up for a while and see what happens. But if you still aren't, there's probably something else driving your that's preventing you from losing weight, and it's something that you'd want to actually see a health practitioner for. And one of the doctors in our office, actually 2 of them, Dr. Lindsay and Dr. Samuelson, that's what they're experts in, is figuring out, well, what's driving the body to not be able to lose weight. And I would highly recommend scheduling with them, because it can be frustrating to set forth a plan to lose weight and absolutely nothing happens. The other things that you'll experience during these 21 days is that you will live a healthier lifestyle. I found that at the end of that 21 days, I did not feel like going back. In fact, some of the foods that I had been eating and tried some of those, I didn't even enjoy them anymore. So you will create a healthier lifestyle from it. You will have more energy. One of the things that I had mentioned was I felt like I'm pretty healthy, so why would I need to do this? But I literally probably could lay down any afternoon and take a nap. I wasn't thinking that was an energy level problem, but I just thought, well, that's probably healthy to take a nap. But after I did the cleanse, I realized, boy, I don't even have an urge to lie down and take a nap. I used to feel like I needed a good 8 hours of sleep every night. I now feel if I'm getting 7 hours of sleep a day in the evening and night, then I'm totally fine. So again, I need less sleep. I don't need those naps, and I have more energy. Another thing that a lot of people notice is that they have improved digestion, and maybe some of the bloating that they've had or some of the irregular bowel movements, that many times improves through they're doing a cleanse, and during the cleanse there's a lot of diet changes that you make. Some can be difficult, for some people maybe not too hard at all, but for myself, I know that the one that was the hardest for me was that the first 10 days you don't eat any meat at all. That's the standard process one. The Clearvite one, you don't eat meat for the last 10 days. So for me that was difficult, but at the same time I understood the reason why is that it did help my body rest and to be able to get rid of any toxins and such, and so it was well worth it. This here is the standard process cleanse. This is just some of the products that you get with the cleanse. SP Cleanse, that's going to be the powder that you'll be taking in. It's a protein powder mixed with a ton of powdered greens, and so you can do that as a dairy-free option, or you can do it as a whey protein. The dairy-free option is rice protein. The SP Cleanse is just a capsule that you're going to be taking. The gastrofiber, or the whole food fiber, is again just another capsule you're going to be taking. And the SP Green Food is again another capsule. All of these are based off of whole food supplements. Whole foods meaning that they just took the food, took the water out of it, so dehydrated it, took the fiber out of it, and that's what they've made their supplement out of. So what it does combine 20 unique whole foods, botanical ingredients that have been shown to help cleanse the body, help detox the body. So it does support healthy kidney function, liver function, and gallbladder function. Also encourages healthy digestive function, supports the elimination of toxins, and also promotes healthy elimination through bowel movements and bladder movements. These again are just some of the ingredients. I'm not going to go into great detail about each one, but as you can see, use a lot of different ingredients that again have been shown to help detox the body and to help give the body the rest that it needs, and to heal anything that maybe has been damaged from some of the foods that we've been eating or some of the toxins that have been exposed to into our bodies. So the SP Complete, or SP Complete Dairy Free, like I mentioned, it's just it's a protein powder, but it also has greens in it, powdered greens as well. The SP Complete is a whey-based protein. SP Complete Dairy Free is a rice protein. I went with the rice protein. I just wanted to eliminate dairy out of my diet during that cleanse. It's not necessarily a bad protein, whey protein, but I did feel like it would be beneficial to just try going completely dairy-free for those 21 days. So that's why I went with the rice protein. You do notice a taste difference. It's a little more grainy if you've ever had a rice protein. Took a few times of getting used to it. My wife and I did it together. She really didn't like it at first, but now that she's used to it, she really can't stand the other proteins now. So it does take your body getting used to it, the taste of it, and once you do, I find I'm still using this protein as my primary source of protein even when I'm done the cleanse. So the SP Complete, I had mentioned the whey protein or the rice protein, but I also mentioned that it comes with some powdered greens. There's going to be barley grass, rice, buckwheat, and flax, and then alfalfa. Those are added to it, so if you are dealing with issues of gluten, it's going to be something that you don't want to use this one, because there is a potential that these foods have been either contaminated with gluten or there's cross-contamination with gluten. So other things that are in the SP Complete as well is calcium and magnesium, grapeseed and red wine extracts, buckwheat, choline, and acetal. And these are all been proven to help with getting rid of toxins, but then also been proven for other health benefits, as you can see in this slide. Green food, I had mentioned some other things that you'll be taking other than just the powder. The green food again is going to be made from whole foods. It does promote healthy liver function. It has antioxidants in it as well. It supports overall cellular health. Provides phytonutrients that our bodies needs. It does support cholesterol metabolism, and supports the normal elimination of toxins. Again, the whole reason why many people are doing a cleanse is to get rid of toxins, so the SP Green Food can be something that can support that. Also, you'll find in the SP Green Food, you'll find powdered Brussels sprouts and kale. I eat them as well when I went through the cleanse, and I'm still eating them. I like the taste of them, but for some people that don't like that taste, it's nice that they can just take it as a powder. But what do Brussels sprouts and kale do? They do support growth and division of cells. They improve your cholesterol metabolism. They provide antioxidants. They do remove toxins from the liver. And then buckwheat, again, is powdered in the SP Green Food capsules. So it is a protein extract that is shown to help increase muscle mass and reduce body fat. I know some people, when they go through these, they look at, I'm not going to get enough protein, especially during the time that they're not eating meat. And really, the program itself does give you enough protein, but if a person needs to add protein, that is an option that they can add protein through either a different protein shake that they may be already using, or Standard Process does have a very specific, just a protein powder that you could be doing. But as you can see, there is many sources of protein in the capsules even, and in the SP Complete protein powder. Buckwheat also contains powerful antioxidants, again, that help detoxify the liver. Also contains barley grass that provides antioxidants, supplies minerals. Alfalfa, it's been used in the past for many years to help with bladder and kidney support, and so it's also been used for indigestion and, again, ridding the body of toxins. Castor fiber or whole food fiber, you do have a choice here of either taking capsules or taking it as a powder. I preferred the capsules just because you didn't have to deal with any new tastes or anything like that, and so it does soften the stool, encourages regular elimination. That's definitely something that we notice with the people that go through the cleanse, is they become regular. And many people that they may be used to 1-2 bowel movements a day, or maybe they're not used to any, maybe once every couple days. What you'll find is that you'll have more regular bowel movements. 2 to 3 bowel movements a day is typically what most people experience, which is a good thing. It also promotes a healthy gut. It maintains healthy lipid and blood glucose levels. Blood lipid levels are really what we see as a very important factor in the process of heart disease. So having healthy lipids can really be a great way to prevent heart disease. And then we also see that with blood glucose, because that can help with preventing diabetes, but there is a whole array of other health diseases that or health issues, I should say, that have been related to blood sugar levels. Other things that you can do while you're on it, I'd mentioned that that you could potentially just do another protein shake as well on top of it. My advice is you probably can get by without that, but if you're really struggling and need some more protein, you can do a whey protein. Like I said, Standard Process has a whey-based protein. Now again, if you're looking at you don't want to do dairy at all throughout this process, then you'd want to do a different source of protein, and that could be an egg white protein, it could be a pea protein, it could be another rice protein, but it's just strictly a protein powder. It doesn't have all the other things in there as well. Other things that you want to be doing, and if you're not doing them already, is making sure you're doing an essential omega-3 fatty acid. And again, Standard Process has one that's tuna-based. During winter months, I highly recommend people do a cod liver oil, because you can get your vitamin D as well. Another thing that can help support while you're on this is a product called Gymnema. And Gymnema has been shown to help with blood sugar levels, and so it really helps those people that while they're going through this, they are getting off of sugar, and they could be going through sugar withdrawals. Gymnema is really good at helping people to curb that sugar craving, and then usually after those 21 days, many people that have had those sugar cravings, if going 21 days without it, they do just fine. A prosymbiotic is just a probiotic. There's many different kinds of probiotics out there. This is just the one that Standard Process makes. Again, this can help support your normal gut flora, helping your good bacteria in your gut. And then taking taking a B vitamin, a B complex can be helpful. This one that I'm showing here is a B6 vitamin. It contains a flaxseed oil that helps maintain healthy skin, nerve tissue, and blood fat levels. So another thing that can be very supportive during this time. So I want to walk you through just what it looks like for the standard process one. The standard process one, the first 10 days I had mentioned you don't eat meat. And so that was, for me, the first time I did this, I thought, holy cow, how am I going to do this? Because I really do enjoy meat. Most of my meals are mostly meat and vegetables anyways to begin with. So to give up meat, I thought that was going to be pretty hard. So the first day it was. Day 2, I was like, okay, I can definitely do this. And then the rest of the time I was just fine. The second time around, it didn't bother me at all to go without meat for those 10 days. So during those first 10 days, you can eat an unlimited amount of raw organic if possible. Organic just because it's going to have less exposure to toxins. And so you're trying to get rid of toxins here, so you really want to try to reduce it as much as you can. So organic if possible, fruits and vegetables. And the vegetables that you really want to focus on are your green leafy vegetables, because they are really been shown to be highly impactful when it comes to removing toxins. You want to eat twice as many vegetables as fruit. I personally strive for eating 3 times as many vegetables as fruit. So you've heard the eat 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. You're going to increase your servings. I would say that during this course of these first 10 days, you're probably going to eat 11 to 13 servings. But you want to eat twice as many vegetables as fruit. Again, like I said, I would say 3 times as much vegetables as fruit. So for every 1 serving of fruit, you'd have 3 servings of vegetables. You can also do lentils or wild brown rice. In the packet, it tells you how much you can do. A half to 1 cup of rice or lentils a day is the maximum that you want to do. Spring water is important. You do want to be drinking clean water, and so again, you're trying to get rid of toxins. So you may be wanting to either go to the grocery store and get the reverse osmosis water from them, find a well like a spring and get water from that, or if you know a good quality bottled water, that's where you'd want to get your water from rather than getting it out of the tap. High quality oils, those are going to be your olive oils and such, and then your coconut oil, which is the saturated fat, is how you'd want to cook. There's 2 different types of coconut oil. I would highly recommend myself, for someone that doesn't like coconut, I'd highly recommend going with the low flavor. You can still, I personally can still taste it, but you can. It's much less than the coconut oil, where they don't have the taste taken away. So you want to exercise at least 4 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes at a time. If you're not doing this already, this might not be a great time to start an exercise program. At first I thought I was not going to have much energy, but it turned out that I did have all the energy I needed. So exercise at least 4 days. The second half of the cleanse, the 11 to 21 days, you're going to do everything the same as you're doing in day 1 through 10, but you can start adding meats back into your diet. And the meats you want to eat are fish, wild-caught fish. You don't want to be eating farm-raised fish because they also have toxins in them, and they haven't been fed what they really God intended them for them to be eating. You also want to be eating meats that are, again, how's the animal supposed to be eating. So grass-fed beef would be the choice there. Chickens, ideally a free-range chicken, at least chickens that are being fed vegetables and not grains. And then the other thing, excuse me, that you want to be looking at when you look at your meats is the quantity. You're probably not going to be eating as much as you would when you weren't on the cleanse. Okay, and again, the booklet really maps that out of how much meat you're allowed during this program as well. All right, so we've talked about what you can eat, and now the fun stuff, what you have to avoid. And the great thing about this is you can take it from the approach that you can clean up your diet and you get to avoid these foods, because most of these foods are damaging to your body. But when you look at the list, you're going to find that some of them actually aren't damaging to the body, but they're a little more taxing on the body, and that's why you're to avoid those foods as well. And I'll address those when I get to them. So people often ask what we can and cannot eat, and they have a lot of different foods, some foods that maybe aren't on the list. One thing we'll say to answer that is, when in doubt, avoid anything that's not listed in the program guide. So if you find a vegetable that you're questioning, whether because you don't see it on the avoid list or you don't see it on the what you can eat list, the best thing to do is, if you're all else fails, just avoid it, because you're not sure if it is something you should be putting in your body during this time. So these are the ones that you definitely want to avoid. You want to avoid margarine, spreads, corn oil, vegetable oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, and all hydrogenated oils and trans fats. And one of the things when you're looking at labels, although what you're going to find is you're going to have to look at very few labels during this 21 days, because everything's going to be living food. Not much is going to come in a package. So if you are questioning though, trans fats, they typically don't say trans fats on them, although labeling does have to say how many trans fats, but if there's only half a gram per serving, then they can get away with not labeling it at all. But look for the words partially hydrogenated. Will always tell you if something's got trans fats in it or not. Other thing you want to avoid is caffeine and alcohol. You want to avoid coffee. So when you think of caffeine, you think of coffee, you think, well, then maybe I could do decaf. Well, coffee in and of itself can be an issue for some people, and so that's why even decaffeinated coffees should be off your list. Tobacco and other stimulants should also be avoided. Soft drinks. Now these are the ones that, these next ones are ones that are healthy for our bodies, but yet we want you to avoid them during this time, again, because they're a little more taxing on the body. Plus, some people do have reactions to them, and you can find that out fairly quickly by eliminating these foods out of your diet. So nuts, beans, dairy, and grains. Those are foods that we want you to avoid during this time, okay? And lentils is on there, so again, lentils is fine, but beans is not. So avoid beans during this time. Processed or refined foods, that pretty much goes without saying. Anything in a can, package that's got processed foods in it, or a box, that's probably not going to be the healthiest thing for you. You want to avoid dry or canned vegetables and fruit, and cured, smoked, or luncheon meat, because they do have toxins in it. So again, some people I think make this more complicated than it needs to be. If you want to make this simple, eat lots of vegetables, good quality meats when you're allowed to eat meat. That means grass-fed beef, that means not farm-raised fish, it means wild-caught Pacific Ocean salmon is probably your best bet when you're looking at salmon. You want to avoid lunch meats, you want to avoid anything that's cured, and so food in as much natural state as possible, and keeping it simple is going to be helpful during this process. So we had mentioned a lot of the different supplements that come with the standard process cleanse. This really maps it out real easy. Again, it's the great thing about this program, comes with a booklet, tells you exactly what you can't be eating during certain times and what you can be eating, tells you how many shakes you should be having, tells you what supplements you're supposed to be taking. So very easy. So you should drink at least 2 to 3 of the SP Complete or the SP Complete without dairy per day. I'm going to come back to those shakes in a second. You're going to do 7 SP Cleanse capsules 3 times a day, 3 gastrofiber capsules 3 times per day, or if you do the powder, you can do the 1 tablespoon of whole food fiber per shake. Now that's for the first 7 days. Okay, so if you do the math, you'll actually see that you are eating or swallowing about 30 capsules, and if you're taking your omega-3s as well, you're going to be taking in a lot of supplements. Okay, this is temporary. Just see it like that. We don't want you to be taking this many supplements for the rest of your life. This is just while you're cleansing out your body. And then for the days 8 through 21, you're going to add 5 SP Green Food capsules 2 times per day in place of the SP Cleanse. So the cool thing when we sell you the kit, You'll run out of that supplement by the end of day 7, and you'll just move right into increasing your supplements with by adding the green food to it. And so I shouldn't say increasing it, because you're actually going to be taking less of them. And so doing that is going to be, for some, it's tough to remember, but it is a habit that you want to get into during this 21 days, because you want to be taking these capsules because they do help you cleanse your body. Now, if you look at the shakes, I mentioned that I'd come back to them. If you look at the shakes, if you've done shakes in the past and you've maybe done them with milk and just the powder, and we're just fine with that. These shakes are much different. They do have a different taste to them. That rice protein is a bit more grainy, and you're going to be taking in a lot of vegetables. So what I would recommend is that you make it so that you can be taking in those vegetables while you're doing your shakes. I'll give you an example of what my shake looks like. I do berries. My morning shake, I would do berries. Not a ton of berries, but and when I mean berries, I mean raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. I would do those berries, and I would add in the SP Complete dairy-free protein powder. I would do a half an avocado. I would do probably about a quarter of a cup of kale, baby kale, quarter of a cup of arugula, and a half a cup of spinach. And then I went to the store and bought Naked Juice Green Machine. Green Machine is not organic, and so, but it is natural, and it's just vegetables and a few fruits, and it's got green apple in it, which really helps with taste. And so I would add just a bit of that. I would say it was probably a quarter to a half a cup of that, probably more like a half a cup of that to my shake. And then I would add water and ice cubes and make a shake out of that. And I found found that it tasted really good, and it was a great way to get a bunch of vegetables into my body as well, because you're gonna feel like you're almost gonna feel like a cow here, eating so much greens. So it's just a great way to vary it. And that's what I did for my shake in the morning, and the shake at night was pretty much exactly the same. So, and I was doing 2 to 3 shakes a day. So if I did one in the midday, again, same thing. But sometimes I would use frozen berries rather than fresh berries. And again, they weren't organic, so I got them at Costco. And a lot of the other stuff I got at Costco, though, is organic, like the spinach, the baby kale, the arugula. I had to go to a grocery store. They sell it at Cub Foods, they sell it at Byerly's, they sell it pretty much everywhere. So that was pretty easy to find. And then the avocados I would get at Costco as well. And they, again, were not considered organic, but the nice thing about them is they do have a skin over the top, so they are very well protected from the pesticides and herbicides. So that's what I would do for the supplements. I would recommend, you don't have to follow what I did, but I would highly recommend experimenting with it, and I would highly recommend getting your greens into your shake so it can help you to get rid of or get some of those greens out of the way, as you are going to be eating a ton of them during this time. The keys to success, I've mentioned a few already, as far as how you can be successful in the shakes and such, and then with meats. So the keys to success really will be planning. Okay, when you look at, I show you this picture for a reason, because when you look at people making plans for their vacation, they'll spend months, weeks, years to plan their vacation, and yet when it comes to planning out their life, they kind of just do it randomly. And so I'd highly recommend that you need to plan this. And what I mean by that is that you want to go in there, again, with that big reason why, knowing why am I doing this, because it's not going to be an easy 21 days. You want something that's big enough that will drive you to completion, to finish what you started. And then when you look at planning, just want to talk to you a little bit about how you can eat well, think well, and move well. Planning for those are going to help you to be very successful. So when we look at eating well, I like to approach it for the principle for eating, using the principle of eating for 3. And what I mean by that is we're going to eat for our own health, our own personal health, where that's one thing, reason why we're doing this is so that we ourselves can be healthy. We're also going to do it for our families. And this is where I'd highly recommend, if you're going to do a cleanse, that you would probably do it with, if you have a spouse or loved one, I would really recommend that you do it with them, because you don't want to have to be making two different meals. My wife and I have done this together both times, and it's been fun to do it together. It's been fun in the ways that we're learning how to eat different, and then when we're making food for our family, then our kids got to enjoy the benefits as well. Now that you may think, okay, enjoy the benefits of having kids whining and complaining about this new food, but it is food that they should be eating as well. A child isn't ready to do a cleanse, so they shouldn't really be doing these cleanse programs, but they can definitely be eating healthier, and we, our own family who ate pretty healthy, found that we could definitely help our children to be even healthier by doing this cleanse. So doing it for our families, and then like I said at the start, is that our highest reason for doing something really should be for God. It should be to glorify God, to bring glory to His name, and to show Him that we appreciate what He's given us and take care of what we've been given by being good stewards of the things He's blessed us with. The other things that you want to look at then when you're looking at eating well and how you plan is food that is more natural is going to be what you're going for. And I'd mentioned some of the things you should avoid are natural foods, but most of the food that you are going to be eating, all the food that you're going to be eating is going to be natural food. And the more alive it is, the better it is for you. Okay, so foods that were designed by God to ingest. When you think of the Garden of Eden, we think of what foods would be there. That's the foods that we really want to be eating, not food that's coming in those packages. So food by man, it really is synthetic. It's refined, and it comes with chemicals, preservatives, pesticides, and herbicides, and those are all toxic to the body. So again, I had mentioned about planning for success. So these are the 4 steps of time management that we want to help you with in order for you to be successful. Is you want to plan, and one of the ways you can plan is making sure that you're writing out a shopping list, that you're not just showing up at the grocery store not sure what to buy and wandering around the grocery store just putting things in your buggy. The other thing is, if you're at Whole Foods or Lakewinds and you start doing that, you can have a real expensive grocery bill in a very short period of time. So if you go in there very intentional, you can be very successful at it. So you want to plan. Another thing you want to do is you need to go shopping, and the recommendations there is ideally shopping the outside aisles is going to be, you've probably heard that before, but shopping the outside aisles is going to be where most of your more natural foods are. So shopping the outside aisles, and shopping when you're full or at least not hungry. Shopping hungry is never a good idea, because what you do is everything looks good at the grocery store, and you start putting stuff into your buggy again that you shouldn't be eating, and stuff that more food than you really need, and it can get very expensive. You also need to prepare your foods. One way to do that is right after the grocery store, if you want. Come home and cut up your vegetables, get them ready, put them in baggies or put them in containers, so that come Monday morning or each morning of the week, you just reach into the fridge, grab a baggie, and you've already got your food with you. So another key to this program is making sure that you have food with you, and food that that's on your program, because you're not going to be able to find most of this food if you're out and about and you get hungry. There's no drive-through that's selling this food. There's no vending machine really that has this food. So you want to prepare your food ahead of time, so it's just real easy to take it with you. And then cooking your food. Why not cook multiple meals at one time? So it's very convenient that when you cook one meal, to cook 2 or 3 meals at a time really doesn't add any extra time. Maybe a little bit more prep time, but cooking it doesn't take any more time. So having that food cooked and ready for you, it again helps set you up for success. When I first did the cleanse a year ago, I thought that I would just be no problem just doing a whole bunch of salads. I figured that that would be how I would get through this, just eat vegetables by eating a bunch of salads. I like salad. Quickly realized, probably 2 days into it, that is not going to work. And so I really started looking for recipes, vegetarian type of recipes, because the first 10 days of the standard process cleanse, you're not to eat any meat. So looked up vegetarian recipes and put down the ingredients again for the plan, so that when I went to the grocery store, I knew what I was looking for, what ingredients I needed, and that made a huge difference. I started cooking a lot more vegetables, steaming vegetables, making stir fries, and that worked really well. Many of those things we still do today in our diet, and so it's been a great experience doing that, because it's given us many more options to eat instead of going to the same 3 or 4 meals that you make every week. So that was helpful as well. So that's what I would recommend for you, is to be cooking foods, cooking vegetables as well, but doing it in a way that's smart, using the right oils and not overcooking the vegetables so they maintain their nutritional value. The other thing you want to do when you're planning is making sure that you are thinking well, having a positive attitude through this, because it's not easy. I'd mentioned that already. It really isn't easy, these 21 days. So we want to make sure that we're seeing this as a plus, and seeing that this is something that you get to do rather than have to do. This is something that you're look at the results rather than the process that you're having to go through right now, because it can be tough when you are restricting yourself from eating certain foods. So watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Watch your words, for they become your actions. Watch your actions, for they become your habits. Watch your habits, for they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. So it is really important that we think well. It's important we develop habits. I'm always telling this to people. You show me a sick person and I can show you that it's probably habits that got them that way. But at the same time, you show me a healthy person and it's probably habits that got them that way as well. So we want to think well. I do have a seminar that we do in the Daniel Plan that is on specifically on Think Well, and going to our YouTube channel, just going to YouTube and going to Vallejo Health and Wellness Center, and you'll be able to find the video. There's a video on thinking well. There's also a video on eating well. There's also a video on moving well. And so there's a lot of benefits to moving your body. You do want to be exercising. I did mention, though, that if you haven't been exercising, it may be tough to start an exercise program during this. And I'm going to leave that up to you if you feel like you have the energy or not to add that. But I'd highly recommend that you would ease into that and not just jump right into it. If you're doing it already, what I found, and like I said, I thought I would need to cut back on it. What I found is that I did just fine doing the same exercise I was doing before I started the cleanse. But these are just some of the benefits of movement. We all know that it's very helpful. It's very healthy to moving your body. So continue to do that if you're doing it already. If you're not doing it and you don't know if you should be adding exercise, then the best place to start is to just start walking, doing just a light aerobic type of exercise like walking. So then after the cleanse, what do? I would say that what you're going to find is you're going to want to keep moving forward. At first I thought, and I remember me and my wife sitting there thinking in the first few days, just sitting down and planning the meals that we were going to eat after we were done this 21-day cleanse. We would think about all the foods that we'd get back, be able to eat again, and just have a great feast and enjoy just some food that's really not good for you. And we found that when we were done, we didn't want to do that because we just felt so good, and some of those foods that we did try afterwards, we were like really realized how bad they tasted. And what I've also noticed is how sweet some things taste that do have sugar in it, and it's to the point where I can't even stand it. So I don't have an urge to eat those foods. So what we found was that we had a new normal. Is that we found that our bodies, our tastes and such was different, and we found that we just didn't have those urges to eat those foods anymore. And so occasionally we'll eat some foods, but for the most part I avoid many of the foods that I was eating beforehand. So you also want to continue to follow your purification diet. That can be a pretty easy thing for some people. For me, eating very little grains has been very easy to do over the last year or so. So I'm just continuing to eat that that same diet that was in days 11 through 21. Now, if you feel like you need to be introducing some of those foods back in, what we recommend is that you reintroduce healthy foods that you avoided during the purification, one food group at a time, because you maybe have had reactions to them, you didn't know it. So add a food in. It takes 2 or 3 days before you really notice if you're having a reaction to food, and so it's a delayed allergic reaction, or a food sensitivity you might be having. And so you really want to add one at a time so that you can test that and see if that food should be avoided. So the way to do that is just pay attention to how you feel as you reintroduce those foods, and you may find that you just want to avoid those foods for the rest of your life because they're really just not worth how you feel afterwards compared to the taste that you get for a short brief time. You also want to just continue to take your necessary supplements that are not being met in your daily diet. Very few of us, I would say, have a diet that's good enough that you're never going to have to take supplements. Most of the food is depleted. We're not eating the foods that are high in certain things, and so you may need to supplement them. I would say fish oils or omega-3 fatty acids is probably one that we all could benefit from taking as a supplement. Vitamin D, now this is in the winter time. Vitamin D in the summertime, you get outside and you spend 20 to 30 minutes out in this summer, out in the sun with shorts and a t-shirt on, you're going to get good amounts of vitamin D as long as your liver's functioning well and able to convert, and kidneys as well. So it's important to get vitamin D in the wintertime. How do you get that without having to take supplements? Foods that are high in vitamin D would be liver, which most people are not eating. Fish is high in vitamin D, some green leafy vegetables, but you're probably not going to get enough without supplementing it. So I would recommend taking cod liver oil, because you just kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You get your omega-3s and you get your vitamin D. Also, I would say a joint complex. What people used to do is they would make soups. They would take the carcass of the animal, put it and boil it, put it in water and boil it, and all the joint complex would come out of the carcass, and it would be in the broth, and that's how people would do it. Or else grinding it up and making gelatin out of it. That's not what people are doing today, and so most people are probably deficient in joint complex. So taking your chondroitin and your glucosamine would be good and beneficial to supplement your diet with. Digestive enzymes such as hydrochloric acid. There are other enzymes that we need. Many of us, due to stress and age and such, our digestive enzymes have decreased, and so a lot of times we're told that we are producing too much, like too much acid in your stomach, and that's typically not the case. Most people that are not producing enough. Food's not getting digested. It gets to the colon and it gets digested by bacteria, and then it can cause gas, can cause indigestion, can cause diarrhea, constipation, and so most people, as we get older, will probably need to take digestive enzymes. The more we cook our food, the more we destroy our enzymes. So eating food as close to raw as possible, and that's even including good quality meats. Eating those at less cooked temperature than most people are being told will help with digestive enzymes. And so that's, again, you got to make sure that you're eating a good quality meat there to be able to do that. If you're not, then that's why they're telling people they need to cook it more thoroughly, because you will be prone to getting food poisoning from that, and that's not something you want to do, and it's definitely not enjoyable. So I spent a lot of time talking about standard processes, cleanse, and really didn't talk too much about the Clearvite, and the reason why is because the Clearvite is very similar as far as the diet goes, very similar to what foods you can and cannot eat, very similar in the supplements that you're taking. The difference is that it's gluten-free, and the other difference is it's not a whole food supplement, and so that's why the cost is different, and that's also why I chose to go with the standard process, because I like the idea of doing a whole food supplement. But if you're having a gluten issue, you really need to be doing the Clearvite program instead. So this is something that I just cannot emphasize enough, is I am so glad that I did it recently. I talked to a good friend of mine. He's a triathlete this year. He's going to do an Ironman triathlon, and talked to him about doing a cleanse, and you could tell he was kind of questioning it. He came to a seminar that we did on on doing a cleanse and decided to go ahead and do it because he wanted to take his triathlons to a next level. He wanted to take his health to a next level, and so he decided to do the cleanse. And I just saw him recently, and before he started the cleanse, you would look at him, you would have never thought this guy needs to lose any weight. He did the cleanse. He ended up losing about 13 pounds. That wasn't his goal, though. He wasn't really just trying to lose weight, but just looked so much better, leaner, just looks healthier from it. But what he says, he feels the difference that he feels is he just feels a lot better, and he's really cleaned up his diet, he said, and it's just made a huge difference, and was just thanking me for encouraging him to do that. So I would encourage you as well, that I would at least do this once a year, clean up the diet, get rid of the toxins that are in your body, get your health to another level. You may be already feeling like you're great. That's how I felt, but I couldn't believe how much better I felt when I went through the cleanse. So I would highly recommend doing it. I would recommend it to do it with a spouse or a loved one, because you'd be most successful. And the only thing I can say is that it's not easy, but well worth it. If you do have any questions, if you're considering doing it and you're not sure, and you have some questions that need to be answered, you can definitely contact us. You can call our office at 952-949-0676. Ask for me, Dr. Aaron Moreland, and I can answer your questions for you. So hopefully this information was helpful, and hopefully that if you do a cleanse, that you will experience the same results that so many others have experienced. So have a great day, and God bless.